Well, Happy New Year, everybody at Harvest Foundation. Thank you so much for what you do and who you are. We wanted to encourage you this year, and what better way to take advantage of everybody wanting to lose weight than to just do a short illustrated sermon about the unnecessary weight that we carry. Now, in front of me, we have a different assortment of foods, and they're going to represent what we've lovingly been able to call the seven deadly sins. And I know, please don't put comments on there. I know the Bible doesn't call them seven deadly sins, but for the most part, that's a pretty good list of categorizing the things that we go through here on earth that we have to overcome. So with that, I want to show you what I have here, and I want to show you how we put on unnecessary weight, not only throughout the year, but even daily. So watch this. I have a beautiful cappuccino here that was made by my daughter. There's no telling how much this is going to just blow my mind. Anger. I've decided on using Coke. Nothing against Coke. I'm sure everybody likes Coke. I'm not making fun of you. This is going to represent anger because it is, you can't see through it. It's dark, it's cloudy, and I'm sure it tastes really good. I know that. Right here for envy, just because it's green, we have guacamole. Yep, guacamole. It's guac and chips. Sloth, I didn't even manage to take it out of its container. It's banana pudding. Originally, it was going to be mac and cheese because I think mac and cheese is the ultimate sloth food, but hey. Gluttony, I chose home-style potato salad. Greed is Domino's Pizza cheesy bread. Finally, we have some chocolate for lust, all right? So here's what I want to do, and here's how I want you to see it. This is me. This is Chad Boswell right here. I hope you can see all of me. So what we're going to do right now is I have something set up. Let's see. I have a scale, and we'll be able to line it up with everything. What we're going to do is I'm going to get on the scale, and you're going to be able to see how much I weigh. All right, so show 260.2 pounds. My goodness is what you're saying, 262 pounds. But, you know, it's what it is. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take us through a normal day. Let's say you wake up in the morning and everything's going fine except you forgot to turn the light on. You know, pastors forget to turn the light on sometimes. It's something that we typically do. And suddenly, out of nowhere, bam, we stub our toe. And all of a sudden, we're trying not to say those choice words that we learned in grade school, but we can't help it. The anger is just welling up, and we just start screaming, and all of a sudden, we fill ourselves with anger. But we calm down. Woo! But we calm down a little bit because, hey, we're pastors. We should be able to get above that anger, right? So a little bit of pride in that, right? Oh, that's sweet. Okay. So we get above all that, but you know, everything is totally fine. We don't need the anger anymore because after all, we are, you know, who we are. But all of a sudden, we start thinking about the day. We start thinking about all the things that we need to do to get ready for our church day, to get ready for the week. And all of a sudden, we start to thinking about, you know, other ministries that might be a little bit more successful than us. Oh my gosh, that church down the street, they are bringing in people left and right. I'm sitting here with the same 120 people year in, year out, and they're just not getting it. And all of a sudden, we start finding ourselves becoming a little bit envious of a church down the street just because they may have more people than us. Oh, let me start. This may take a while. We find ourselves becoming a little bit more envious because they have something we want, which technically we shouldn't want that because we're supposed to be doing what the Lord called us to do, and that's just minister to people. But sometimes we get in that place where we're like, I wish I just had more people. And pretty soon, that envy that we love to call on every so often turns into something else. Greed. Now, how can envy turn into greed? Very easy. Envy and greed are actually very closely related to each other. And all of a sudden, something we're angry about is the very thing that we want the most. And pretty soon we start coveting it. And what happens if we actually get a little bit of success during all of this? Now, there's one thing I want to do. Oop, hold on. There's one thing I haven't introduced us on the table. Water. Let's let water represent the Word. Let's let it represent the Holy Spirit. Let's let it represent God. The very thing that we should go to in our time of need. And our time of need is all the time, right? Let's go back. So here we are, we're experiencing what? We're experiencing envy. We're experiencing greed at the same time as experiencing envy. And when we don't get what we want, guess what happens? Huh? We're just being filled with stuff we don't need. All the while, we're neglecting the very thing we should be going to in the first place. Well, that's just our morning. We haven't gotten out of the bathroom yet to have what? Our breakfast. We haven't gotten our car to go to work. But let's say we just get in our car and we go to work. And we continue to think of all the things that we're still supposed to see and are supposed to do. And all of a sudden, we see something out of the corner of our eye. Maybe it's another woman. Maybe it's a luxurious car. Maybe it's somebody that you see as powerful and you want that. And all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, our mind begins to lust. You can lust over things that are, physical objects. You can lust after power. But what happens is, when we don't go to this, we fill ourselves with this. We're not chocolate. Things start to well up. We start to think about the woman. We start to think about the car. We start to think about the power. We start to think about all the things that we desire. And then we come to that realization that we should have those things. Because after all, I am someone who should have power. Those people should adore me. That I should have those cars. I should have all this. And all of a sudden, pride wells up its ugly head. And we start becoming full of ourselves. All the while, we are neglecting the Word. We are neglecting the Holy Spirit. We're not listening to what God is saying. I think I'm going to have to change around my little thing. I think I said that this was greed. In the beginning, I said that potato salad was gluttony. Well, we're just going to go ahead and flip it around. Potato salad is greed, and the pizza is gluttony. So all of a sudden, we get hit with this thought that we're not going to be able to do everything that we're supposed to do. And a little bit of pride creeps in because we start to think, can't they see the vision that I have? Can't they see the vision that has been given to me? Why can't they make it their own? They should be doing this. And sometimes those thoughts cause you to sit back and do nothing. And when that happens, sloth begins to take over. Sloth, being banana pudding here, we just fill ourselves with it, and it just makes us feel heavy. I shouldn't be enjoying this as much as it seems that I'm enjoying this. Sometimes sloth can have the adverse effect. Sometimes sloth can make us so busy that we are constantly doing things except for the one thing that we should be doing in the first place, which is going to Him for absolutely everything. So things aren't going our way. We see people who have things that we want and think we should have. And then we get greedy and try to make it happen. All because we're full of ourselves. And we don't even know it. Sad part is, because we don't go to this, we end up having to try to get more. So we go beyond greed, and suddenly gluttony comes in. And gluttony just makes us want to just get more than we think that we deserve, because we are who we are. So not only are we gluttonous, we may think we deserve more because of who we are. Greed and gluttony mixed together. It is an overpowering desire, an overwhelming desire to engorge yourself with things or thoughts. It's amazing how all of these are connected. And the one thing that connects them together, to me, is pride. Because pride is all about yourself. Regardless of whether or not you're trying to sexually fulfill yourself. Or if you're trying to justify yourself because you think you should have what you deserve. Pride can also fill you full of anger, because sometimes you don't get what you deserve. This is mine. Sometimes we can pretend that it's holy. Pride is also connected to envy, because envy, again, when you start to see the things that others have that you want, become envious. Well, pride is connected to that, because pride is all about yourself. So you get a mixture of this and this. Terrible. Sloth is one of two things. Sloth is one of those things where you're doing absolutely nothing and you're getting nothing done, or you're too busy. Either way, sloth indulges yourself. And because of that, pride, sloth are connected together. Let's take a halftime. Let's see what happened. So here we are, only halfway through my day, and I've managed to get angry, lustful, envious, a little greedy, a little gluttony, and slothful. And not once have I gone to the Word. Now, will this add weight to me? Yeah, it'll add weight to me, but it adds the right kind of weight to me, because water is something that can be used just like that in our body. So let's see what happened. Remember how much I weighed. I believe it was 262 or 260.2. Just in that short little bit of time, I gained, wow, 2 pounds. What? Okay, so imagine now. Let's go ahead and clear all of this aside. Let's take this out of the picture. Imagine now if anger really was something that we consumed. What if lust and greed and gluttony, what if all those things were something that we did actually consume, and that every time that we experienced anger that was not just, a little bit more weight was added on to us? Imagine if we were to look at something that is not ours and we become envious of it, and pretty soon we become lustful of it and become prideful of it, because after all, this is for me. Well, that's just a little bit more weight that is added on to us. And we go through that daily. We go through it in such a way that it adds so much unnecessary weight to us that we don't even know that we're gaining. You know, we think we're going through something that Paul talked about, where we are learning endurance. And actually, this is more self-inflicted endurance. When we are confronted with situations that would cause us to become angry or slothful or greedy or envious or lustful, all those things, we should be going to the Word. We should be going to the Holy Spirit. We should be praying, going, Holy Spirit. And we should not be leaning on our own understanding. What happens when we lean on our own understanding is we gain weight daily. Now, if I were to continue with this at 260.2 pounds, my goodness, and I gained 2 point whatever pounds in front of you, imagine what would happen if this is January 1st. Imagine where I would be at the end of the year. So here's what's going on. I'm going to prove to you that unnecessary weight is indeed unnecessary. And with that, I am going to lose weight beginning today. So I'm going to check in with you in a week. I'm going to have some encouraging things to say about the fruits of the Spirit. And say, how about a month from now, we'll do a final weigh-in. But we'll weigh in along the way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I didn't. So, Happy New Year, Harvest Foundation. We're so grateful for who you are and what you do in your communities, with your churches. Thank you so much for what you do. We're here for you. We love you. I can't wait for you to see, hopefully, a much thinner me in the next month or so. And I know it doesn't stop there, but hopefully I can encourage you to maybe not get angry in the morning as quick, and perhaps you can go to the Word. Maybe not be envious or anything like that, because as pastors, we go through the same thing that our people go through. So let's remember that in this year. Remember why we are where we are, and remember whose we are. We love you. Happy New Year. Thank you.